Welcome back to our second video in the series on social and emotional well-being during COVID-19, where we will discuss the social emotional impacts of social distancing for an extensive period of time. My name is Arsante Malone. I'm the youth program advocate at Durham Children's Initiative, and I'm joined today by
Bienvenidos. I'm Diana Alston, and I'm a senior parent advocate.
Today, we're going to be hosting a conversation with Miss Elizabeth DeConti, where she will share her expertise on how we can manage and self-regulate best at home during our current pandemic. Ms. DeConti?
Thank you all so much for having me. Excited to be here with you guys and to talk about this topic. Normally, we talk a lot about this type of work with schools and with educators, but we know that talking about this with parents is extremely important right now because you all as parents and caregivers are home with your children. School and virtual learning are over right now for the summer, and you're trying to figure out how to continue to support yourself and take care of your own emotional health while also continuing to support your kids at home and their emotional well-being. And so we're going to share a few tips and strategies in the few minutes that we have with you. To start, I just want to acknowledge that because of the circumstances that we are all living in as a result of this pandemic, everyone is experiencing great levels of anxiety and stress regarding our own safety. And to show this, there is one national hotline that provides mental health support for individuals who can reach out by calling or texting this hotline. And one statistic showed that this past April, that hotline saw a 1,000% increase in the number of calls and texts that they received compared to April of last year. So that just shows the amount of stress and anxiety that everyone across our country and our world are experiencing. So you are not alone in the feelings that you may be having. And we know some of the things that people are experiencing are feelings of loss, feelings of loss of routine, connections, anticipated events that you were looking for, seeing people that you're used to being around, experiencing job loss or economic struggle, not having childcare that you may be used to having, while also trying to balance work and working at home and being in that stressful home environment with working and with kids. Lack of access to resources that you're used to being able to have at your fingertips, lack of healthy routines that are impacting your sleep, your eating, your ability to be productive, and then actual illness or of yourself or of loved ones, or fear of that illness because of what we're all experiencing around us. And those are just a few of the things that we know that are causing all of us, whether kids or adults, anxiety and stress right now. And when we experience this level of stress and this level of anxiety, this actually has an impact on our brains and how our brains work. We all have a stress response system within our brains and our bodies as kids or as adults. And this turns out to, when we experience anxiety, this impacts how we think, how we feel, how we act, our behavior. And this can also be called as the fight, flight, freeze response system. So when we're feeling anxious, when we're feeling stressed, we or our kids may have more tantrums, more lashing out at people we love around us, or the opposite, may withdraw more, may try to kind of hide and be secluded more often. And those are all normal reactions and normal responses, no matter what your age, to experiencing this level of stress and anxiety because of how our brains are designed to respond to that. So how can we help ourselves and help our kids during this time? The first thing that we can do is take care of ourselves. We cannot give and we cannot take care of our kids if we are not filling up our own tanks. So we have to practice our own self-care, make sure that we are feeling emotionally and physically strong so that we can best pour into and take care of our kids. And some quick things that as adults we can do are practicing things like mindfulness and our own deep breathing, just simply a few times a day, taking time to take really deep belly breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Doing that several times a day as a repeated practice can help to lower that stress response system that I was talking about earlier. Thinking about some of the hobbies, simple hobbies you can still do at home that you enjoy, and carving out some time each week to do that. Finding time, just 5 or 10 minutes each day that you can be alone. Right now, having that alone time to either practice breathing or mindfulness, again, is really important, or just having some time set aside from others in your home. If you can, I know not everyone is able to right now, but if you are getting outside a little bit, or even as adults, creating kind of what could be called your own calm down kit. This could be just a shoebox or a few items that you can have as a go-to when you are starting to feel anxious or you need a little bit of time away to yourself. Could be something like a book or a magazine you enjoy, a candle that smells really good and soothing to you, anything like that, some kind of puzzle or adult coloring book. Those are all great ways that as adults, we can practice our own self-care and help ourselves stay regulated so that we can best support the emotional health of our kids. And again, I have a couple quick examples up here on the screen. The Calm app is one that's free. You can just Google, that has some great free breathing videos. And then I have a sample of what an adult coloring book page might look like that I know a lot of adults enjoy and is kind of a mindless task to help reduce anxiety. Number 2 is focusing on relationships and connection with your child. A strong supportive relationship is the best way to help your child feel safe, especially with the kiddos that you have elementary age. They're still little and young, and they need to know that they are safe and connected with you. And some ideas to help support this are setting aside special time that's just for you as the parent or caregiver and them one-on-one throughout the week. It could just be 2 or 3 times throughout the week that you have designated time where you are going to do an activity with them that you know they enjoy, something they like to do, one of their favorite hobbies that you just one-on-one are doing with them to have that special time together. Another idea is setting some kind of routine every morning that you're starting your day together, you're greeting each other positively together. It could be a ritual of a hug or some way that you greet each other when you wake up. Could be having breakfast together, but some kind of morning routine that establishes the day and the start to the day together in a positive way. And I have up here on the screen just a sample calendar, and there's a lot of these out there online. You can just Google of things that you can do together, either one-on-one, like I mentioned, or as a family. And this has just some simple ideas of things that you can spend your time together with your child doing. Our third tip is to help teach and practice calm down skills together. It's important for you to be a soothing presence to your child, to acknowledge their feelings, to practice simple skills, and especially for the younger elementary kiddos, to keep that physically close distance and connection. Sometimes I know once kids get to that 4th and 5th grade range, they may not want hugs or that close connection, but we know that younger elementary kiddos definitely do. And so some steps here are first recognizing your own stress. If your child's anxiety and stress, or they are lashing out or having a tantrum and that's causing your anxiety to increase, the first thing to do is to recognize your own emotions and to calm yourself down so you can be a soothing presence to them. Second is addressing and acknowledging what your child might be feeling. And one tool to help use with them is something like this image I have on the screen, some kind of feelings thermometer or set of emojis that you can use with them for them to help identify with you how they are feeling so they can learn to start articulating that themselves. Like I said, you then being a soothing presence to them, and then practicing some simple calm down skills with them. I have a few ideas up here in images on the screen, but one, just like I mentioned for yourself, deep breathing. You can easily do this with young children. And there's some great free videos online that are really fun for elementary age that you can do with them that are just 3 or 4 minutes long. One I have up here is called Mind Yeti, that slow breathing part 2. This link will be included on the resource page that we share with you after, but they have a whole library of videos online, both in English and in Spanish, to help practice deep breathing skills, to help practice other skills like gratitude, listening, things like that, that can really help to bring a calming presence to children. Another idea is to have some kind of calm down kit or small calm down space for kids to use at home. We have an image up here of one that's in a classroom, but you could set up something similar in a small corner in your home that just has a few pillows, maybe a favorite stuffed animal, and asking your child what helps them feel better. Is it coloring? Is it having some kind of stress ball or fidget toy? What are those things that help them to calm down when they're starting to feel upset? And having a small kit or a small space in your home where you can have those items and have that space set aside. And then there are a few things like I just named, that you can also use as crafts with your kids. So making a stress ball. Up here is a picture of DIY kid stress balls. There's also DIY glitter sensory bottles, online videos that show you how to make those. So different things that you can do as an activity with your child, but also then become items that they can use to help regulate and calm down as well. And our fourth and final area to focus on with yourself and with your kids is creating a sense of structure and routine. We're all experiencing a time where we miss our normal routines. We miss getting up and going to work for a lot of us, or getting up and getting dressed like normal. And we're spending so much more time at home that the routines that we're used to, the normals that we're used to, have been upended. And so any ways that we can continue to build in routine and normalcy will help both us as adults, but also our kids. But the important thing, I think, is to also remember right now that we can have these routines and we can have structure and schedules at home, but we still have to be flexible, because we know that every day looks a little different. We're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days. So we have to have grace for ourselves and for our kids when those days don't go according to plan. But working with your child to kind of come up with a loose, flexible schedule of what a day may look like. And here's just a sample of one. There's lots of these also online that you can look for, and we'll share some of them in our resource page. But working with your child to kind of come up with what are the big blocks of time or the main activities each day, and the order that those can be done in, so that there is this sense of normalcy and routine for them. So they know what's expected. So they know what their day is going to look like. That helps them to feel regulated, to feel safe in the environment that they're in. So again, I know that was a lot of information really quickly, but we wanted to be able to give you guys some quick tips and some resources. And like I said, there'll be a resource page that will have some of these links that you can reference and look back to. But we just want to encourage you. We know everyone, whether kids or adults, are experiencing levels of stress and anxiety right now because of everything that's going on in the world around us. And these are just a few quick things to help both with your own emotional well-being as well as your child's.
So allow me to be one of the first to thank you so very much for your time, the information that you shared, the knowledge that you were comfortable with providing our families with. And I want to, for the families that are tuned in, please be on the lookout for our next series next week. Oh, excuse me, in 2 weeks, when we will continue our discussion, but we will be moving into our older group of students. Thanks for tuning in again. I'm your co-host, Arsante Malone, joined by Mrs. DeConti and Yuri Alston. Thanks.